They told us in school that time is a circle, but in London, time is a stationary point. Specifically, it is 12 p.m. on a Tuesday in June 1897, repeated forever across every time zone on Earth. Look up. Do you see the sky? You won't find the stars in the heart of the capital. Between the soot of the coal-fired atmospheric scrubbers and the shimmering brass hulls of the high-altitude dreadnoughts, the heavens have been partitioned. We didn't just colonize the land, we colonized the horizon. They call it the Pax Britannica, a Latin term for a very British reality. A peace maintained by the weight of 1 billion tons of steel and the tip of a bayonet that has stayed sharp for 300 years. There was no Great War. There was no Cold War. There was only the expansion. Listen to the rhythm of the city. It isn't the sound of cars or digital pings. It's the hiss of the pressurized mail tubes, the clatter of the automated rickshaws, and the low, Gregorian hum of the Victorian internet, the cabled lattice, carrying the Queen Empress's voice from the Thames to the moon bases of New Devonshire. Welcome to the year 2026, the year of our Lord, and the 207th year of the reign of Victoria II. Section I. The geography of the map. The map of the world is a monochromatic wash of deep, bruised crimson. There are no borders, only administrative zones. Zone A, the Home Isles, a sprawling, neo-Gothic megalopolis. London has swallowed the southeast. Big Ben is no longer a clock tower. It is the central node of a global synchronization network, pulsing a literal heartbeat through the cabled lattice. The Raj administration, not a country, but the empire's engine room. Mumbai is a forest of smokestacks, producing 90% of the world's clockwork components. The Ganges is lined with desalination plants shaped like marble palaces. The American colonies, the reclaimed provinces, the Great Rebellion of 1776, is taught as a minor logistical error, corrected in the 1860s when the Redcoats returned to stabilize a divided continent. New York is New York again, a bustling port where the Statue of Liberty holds a Union Jack and a ledger of accounts. There is no United Nations. There is the Imperial Parliament, a gilded cage where representatives from every continent gather to argue over tea duties and the price of ether coal, while the Admiralty makes the real decisions in a bunker beneath. Whitehall Section 2. The technology of stasis. In this world, we never discovered the silicon chip. Why bother with sand when you can master the atom through steam? We live in an era of analog supremacy. The Babbage arrays. Massive, city-sized difference engines housed in cooled cathedrals. They don't think like a computer. They grind. They calculate the global economy using brass gears and punch cards. If you want to send an email, you dictate it to a pneumatic scribe. 10 minutes later, a physical slip of paper pops out of a brass mahogany desk in Singapore. The ether ships. Aviation didn't go toward sleek jets. It went toward displacement. Massive, wood-paneled hulls held aloft by Caverick gas. To travel from London to Sydney is a 10-day gala of ballroom dancing and 5-course meals, gliding through the clouds at 30,000 feet. The bioregency. This is the dark secret of the empire's longevity. We mastered the biology of the humors. The royal family doesn't die. They are maintained. Through a series of alchemical infusions and mechanical organ replacements, the line of succession is less a family tree and more a continuous biological circuit. Section 3. The social order, the velvet gilded cage. Life is comfortable provided you know your place. The British Empire is a master of the soft grip. There is no poverty, strictly speaking. There is productive indigence. If you are unemployed, you are given a uniform, a shovel, and a ticket to the Martian reclamation projects. The empire hates a vacuum, especially a vacuum of labor. The class system is no longer based on birth, but on imperial contribution. Every citizen carries a conduct ledger. Section 4. The resistance, the ghosts of the Republic. But even in a world of clockwork perfection, there is friction. Deep in the tunnels beneath the Babbage arrays, there are the static heads. They are the ones who try to jam the gears. They don't use bombs. They use sand. They use logic puzzles that cause the difference engines to seize up in a cacophony of breaking brass. They dream of a myth called democracy, a chaotic, frightening concept where everyone gets a say, regardless of their conduct ledger. They circulate forbidden pamphlets printed on hand-cranked presses, whispering about a time when the map had more colors than just red. They are hunted by the inquisitors of the crown, men in long leather coats who carry neural cane batons. An inquisitor doesn't arrest you. They recalibrate you. They adjust your humors until you remember how much you love the sound of the marching bands. Section 5. The Final Horizon. The empire is now looking upward. The scramble for Africa is a memory. The scramble for the void is the future. The moon is a penal colony. Mars is being terraformed with giant mirrors to create a permanent English summer. The Jupiter moons are being scouted for their ice, to be hauled back to Earth to cool the massive engines of the capital. The sun never sets on the British Empire because the empire has built its own suns. But listen, do you hear that? Beneath the brass and the steam, beneath the hymns and the hooters of the factories, it's the sound of a spring winding too tight. It's the sound of a system that has forgotten how to change, only knowing how to expand. Even the strongest steel becomes brittle if it never bends. And out in the dark, beyond the reach of the ether ships, the stars are waiting. They don't care about tea duties. They don't care about the Queen. They are cold and they are patient. God save the Queen, because nothing else can.